back up.
Oh, that looks a lot better.
Is that better?
It seems like it. It seems like you're actually moving like a person.
1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, it's like a 4-second lag. All right.
Yeah.
Cool. Yeah,
It's
who
good on
knows?
my end.
Weirdness abound. Okay. Now the question is, are we on Facebook? Oh, no, we're not.
I'll check. You're on YouTube. Looks good. Test.
Okay, we gotta stop.
Chat.
All right, hello again. Sorry we rebooted and came back. We had a lag issue. It seems like we're still having some issues with Facebook. I don't really have access to the account, so there's not a whole lot I can do about it. Sorry, guys. So the last question before we took our break was, how do you make clothing not in Marvelous? And instead of trying to do the gravity and all of that stuff, which is a very good way of acquiring, like getting naturalized fabric or, skirts and things like that. To be deadly honest, I don't use it enough to really be a very good demoer for it. I use it for a few things, but for what I do, it's just not in my workflow yet. Because I would just take something like this, sculpt it very quickly. Go W, let's drag it off center. Let's give it a little tilt. Let's skew it actually. Boom. Come on, you. Skew. Oh. You're not going to have subdivisions if you're going to use these, but that's okay. We'd remesh this anyway. So we're going to skew. Boop. We're going to take this and pull it over. We're going to move this over. All right. Now we're going to do a kind of big move here. And we're going to pull that out and pull that. Because your crotch is the widest part there. So we're going to have to make up for that a little. And your buttocks. And I just pulled this from a cylinder. If you have your figure already, you don't have to deal with making that base shape. Mirror and weld. Not local symmetry. Mirror and weld. All right, there we go. Clay tubes. Turn the symmetry back on. Make your pants. Henry, are you sculpting?
No.
Oh, I just keep hearing.
That's me.
Oh, it's not a problem.
I'm muted.
I just think it's funny. You don't have to. It's not disturbing. I'm just. Okay, so you made your pants. Woohoo! Look at that. You got pants. So what I would do, mask it off. Make sure your focal shift on your mask is tiny. Or better yet, here, we'll just do it this way. Boop. Boop. And then come over to, I don't know what size this is. This is going to be too small for this, I think. Whoa. Okay, that's weird. have a UI problem here. I might have to rebuild the UI for 5.1, because see how I'm getting this double stuff going on right here? That happens sometimes when you do your UI. So update size ratios. Yeah, this is, so hold on. Let's take this to something that has a legitimate size. Update size ratio. We'll make it a little bigger. Okay. And so, kind of sculpt your fabric out. Do that. Now we go to scale or precision extract. I want my thickness to be 1 millimeter. Update max thickness. Create precise extraction. And there you have that. Now you did sculpt it. So actually, I'm sorry. I keep forgetting things. We're going to delete that. We're back to this guy. Hold on. We're going to get rid of that. Get rid of that. I am going to make this negative 1 millimeter. Update maximum thickness. Create precise extraction. And then instead of it getting soft as it comes out, we have it on the inside. And we can do a projection to get it back to the sculpt. Because see how it's thin here? It's 1 mil, and you have your garment, right? And so that's the easiest way I know of to quickly get something the way you want it. Now, if you want a pleated skirt or something like that, you're probably going to be better off using the gravity tools. But I kind of suck at the gravity tools, so let's see, does it? Yeah. And so here we would just hold down Control Shift, tap it, and you notice we only have the outside skin now. Come in, turn this back on, project all. Boop. And so now you have your pants to the sculpt you had. Obviously there's a little weirdness in that seam there, but that's easy to fix. Hit tap again, and now you have your inside sorted. And so that, I would say, is probably the easiest way to make clothes. And I'm a sculptor, so I want to put the style into, I'm not making realistic clothing most of the time. I have to do it stylized because we're dealing with small things. So this is the easiest way for me, making a stylized clothing. Because here you could just sculpt on your octopus. Here, let's go back to an octopus. And we're going to duplicate our octopus. Which one has, yeah. Duplicate. And so now let's say that you had, I'm just going to do a little sleeve here, right? I'd come in. And sort of decide where I want it, my sleeve or whatever you're hunting for. And since this already has some identifiers of the bins and stuff, this can be a very good guide for your fabric. We're just going to come in and do these. Right. Here you can start to develop the fabricy-ness of it. And obviously I'm not being insanely precise here, but just trying to give you an idea. SK cloth. I'm going to make the gravity go the other direction. Clay fill behind. Right, so you've spent your time, you've worked out where you want your little folds and all your weight to go. And now you just mask this off. How big is this? All right, so we want and we'll give it a cuff right here, right? Now, obviously, if you were doing this, you would do the whole round. I'm just doing this little bit right here. Precision extract. -0.4, enter, update maximum thickness, create precision extraction. So now we have this. We are going to go project all. Oh, nope. First. That's called sloppy masking. That's what that's called. First, we're going to hold down Control Shift Tap. How many different? That's interesting that it read that as a separate. Interesting. But we'll mask that one off. Come here. Mask that one off. Bring it back. Control W. Now they're the same polygroup. Let's turn lines off so you can see what's going on. Tap this. Right, we're only dealing with the outside shell. Come back to our little sculpt, project all. You can do it. You can do it. Boop. And now you have, right, your sculpted cloth. And now, depending on how thick you want your cloth to be, you can come back in here. And I'm just using SK fill. But you can see that, you can fill it around that, but see how it's still hinting that those are there. So, if this were a thick wool coat, you wouldn't have those. If this were a silk shirt, you'd have more than not. And now you have a shirt piece with thickness, and I would make it thinner than this. It's a little fat. So I'd come back and redo this at probably 0.1, if that's 0.4. All right, I'm only getting 4 of these. Who was it that asked about this? Henry, can you hear me?
It won't let me scroll up that far, but their name started with an A.
Okay.
Let me see if I can figure it out.
Well, yeah, come say, comes off, whatever.
Admiral Supernova. Admiral Supernova.
So did that help? Boop, boop, boop. Okay. There's a lag and I can't do anything about it. Was this what you were asking? I'm about to find out. So you haven't seen it yet?
Or they're about to try it.
Right.
I see. All right. If not, try it. And then tell me if that was the answer or not. Okay. I'm going to delete this. And I'm going to delete this. Because you didn't want a sweater on yours, I assume.
You never know.
You're like, I never even thought of putting a sweater on Dumbo. Didn't he wear that like college sweater in the thing?
Oh yeah, Dumbo did.
Yeah. I thought he had like a university sweater on. Okay. Boom. All right. So now let's get back to your sculpt. So lovely sculpt. And now these are, you just did your membrane. So this is the post membrane part here, right? This is where you have them together. Yeah.
Yes, I'm unmuting. Yeah, so there's one that has subdivisions and polygroups without the webbing. Then there's a webbing, and then I merged them together and did a dynamesh.
Right.
That's for now. I was thinking about doing, I could do another ZBrush that might actually work. But I was wondering if I should fuse it with the actual ring geometry first, and then of course,
I wouldn't. Since you have such a model that has detail, I would ZBrush this separately. Now you may do it again later, right?
Sure.
But I would get this model back to having detail and subdivisions before I tried to interact it with the base. Because you may still need to move it around and stuff. And the only way to do that without really distorting it and muddle-bucking it is to have it done, remeshed.
Mm-hmm.
So I would probably go through a remesh process here. Now, the other thing I would strongly suggest right now before you remesh it is, and now, okay, once again, this comes down to, am I making one of these or am I going to try to make 500 of them, right? If you're making one of them, who cares? If you really want to produce them, what you're going to need to do is in here, make sure to come in and just fill this hole a little so this doesn't go all the way through. Right? And it's going to look like it's going all the way through once you're done, right? Because that'll be black in there. But if you're actually going to try to make a production mold, these undercuts will kill you.
Okay.
Right? So if by doing that, you can see that, no one will ever see that. Right? From back here, that's going to look like it goes back up and under. Now, I do understand having this as a floater, right? Because you're selling that tentacle-y thingy. But this is something that's thin, right? And so what you can do is you can slice the mold and peel it back so you can pull these out, right? But the big flappy parts, they're not thin. So trying to get the mold to pull around the big ear is much more challenging. Right, you can see here, it's a silicone mold, so you just take a slash right there, and then when you're pulling it open, you peel it out and around that. But the ear's fat, so trying to get it out and around without destroying your silicone mold is tough. And there's just no need for it. I mean, no one's going to see this airspace, right? This is, it just makes me laugh. It's a clown car.
Sorry for the clown.
Right? Because did I accidentally? Yeah.
I don't think you.
I missed the hole completely. Let me turn this up just so this happens quicker. There we go. And once again, when you're out here, you know, and that's black, it's going to read black. You know, it's going to appear to go through.
Yeah.
So I don't have any issues with this one, but you'll never get the mold around the big flap. So fill those little buggers in. Now we're going to redynamesh.
Sure.
And then we'll ZRemesh.
ZRemesh.
Yeah. So, and then we'll also look. So this is your ring base, and obviously this is not your ring base because you're not going to start. What is that? 3 mil?
That's it should be 9 millimeters. I mean, oh, the thickness is 3. Yeah. That's the ZBrush core default ring.
Yeah,
thing.
I tend to make my base rings 2 millimeters instead of 3.
2 millimeters.
Yeah, because that gives you room to build up and off of it. Because if you start building up and off of this, and you're heading into 4 and 5 millimeters thick, you know, it's just really uncomfortable. In between the fingers, you want as little material as you can get right here, you know, on the halves.
Mm-hmm.
Where are you? Trim. So think of your let's just well, come on. There we go. And I know we're not, you know, we're making round rings, right? So you're not thinking of it, you're not actually going to build it this way. But I want you to think about it this way, right? Where you're going to try to get as much or as thin as you can here in the side. Now, I'm not saying, oh, I want to get it down to 0.5 millimeter, you know, but just when you're thinking about building rings, you really want to understand that this area right here is the most precious area on the ring. And that's because if you have anything that becomes a bump or a ridge or anything when you're doing this and you can feel it and it hurts, or after 50 of these, you've just like nubbed or rub a hole in the other fingers. So this is the area you really want to pay attention to. And so starting with 3 millimeters is a lot on the sides, at least. So just remember that when you're doing this.
Sure.
And here, let's just divide this up a little. So now you have your little groover here. And I would say you probably want him sitting pretty close to the ring. And now obviously we're like, okay, so now what have we discovered? We're going to have to move this a little. And this is why I'm saying you want, before you start doing this part, you want to be in subdivisions, right? Because you don't want to distort all the nice stuff that you have sculpted, right? And so here's, you know, once we have it back, we come back in. Now, you do want to remember that you probably want these to come up and away from the finger a little. Because these are just going to turn into little saw blades. And so you have to decide, okay, well, I've just created something that is going to be little saw blades. So how do I deal with it? What's the best process? Because I also love these details and I don't want to lose them, right? So what you can think about, or what you can do, is let's just go to Sculptures Pro. Let's go to Snake Hook, just because this is fast. Snake Hook. Sculptures Pro. And I'm just going to hide this stuff. And so this is where you can start to wrap your head around just something. And I'm just why is that not Sculptures Proing? Oh, because it has multiple subdivisions. Hide part or show part. Delete lower. And now I think we can do, you used to not be able to do this, but I think we can do this now.
Yeah, you should be able to sculpt this now. Of course.
That's so awesome.
Isn't it awesome?
It really is.
There's
Pretty.
fine people at Pixologic, man. Let's give them a
Right?
shout out.
Just, what the hell? You're all just awesome. I mean, it's so funny. It's like, I don't know if you all realize how awesome this is, but this is as awesome as it gets, really. This is pretty rad.
Have you mentioned that this was made in Core?
I did mention that. Yeah, the original model is made in Core, and we'll be finishing it in Core as well.
Oh, yeah, these are, we're actually, there are, is this one, this is a free instruction video, right?
Yeah, there's a
Yeah,
free one.
so
It's going to
on,
Not live yet.
will be, yes. So part of our education platform, we've been doing some free videos for Core and Mini Core, and those will be live soon. Well, some of them are already live,
yeah, some of them.
but this one will be up soon. See here, this is where the RAM really makes a difference. I don't even know what you're talking about. Why am I not? Okay, I'm confused, but whatever. And so coming up with whatever this foundational base is, and you can cut this out, let's say, and you can kind of make this like a stylized coral or even just a nice, organic shape that does something, whatever. But by having something that is, oh, that's why because it's just wackadoodle. It's because that's a lumpy weird geo. That's why it's acting like that. So you're going to be much better off by creating something that is a barrier, so you're not losing your detail. Come on. So you're not losing your detail, but you're accenting it. So this is something that can, even really come up, and I have symmetry on, so this isn't really working this way, but this can even come, when it's up here, it can even come up and interact with this, be under or whatever. You just have to make sure any of the places that your little octopus saw blades here, they're just protecting the finger, or they're away from the finger. Does that make any sense?
Yeah, I was thinking about having him sitting on some kind of like coral bed, which would be the support.
And you could turn, like use seaweed or something, and that'll allow for some nice smooth places, where it's touching the finger.
Yeah.
Right.
Of course, now that he's wearing pants, it throws off the whole story.
It does. Just give him a little banner and his little letter sweater, right? Isn't that what they're called? Letter sweaters.
Letterman.
Thank you,
sweaters,
Letterman.
Yeah.
That's the word. I'm like, letter sweater. We all can see that I was very, very involved in high school sports, right? Letter sweater or something. I don't know. And then you just want to make sure that there's a solid area of contact for casting, you know.
Yeah.
Now, once again, this doesn't have to be symmetrical, and you can play with exposing you know, the making sure you're exposing what you want to see as far as the detail and under. But wherever it's there, you want to make sure that, like, see, anything like that, if it's going to be exposed, or if it's going to be behind the main body there, you definitely want to fill it up so you're not getting tons of that undercutty stuff. Because once again, if you're just making one piece, you can make anything one piece, anything. But if you plan to put a mold on it and produce more than one piece, you can't have all this stuff. And so normally when I start giving critiques about these things, I am talking about manufacturing, because like I said, you can make anything one piece. Slide. Boop, boop. There you go. And that, you know, you're just going to decide what this turns into. Little red coral. Actually, really big red coral. You know, once you're up here, you can then... Oh, where are the cactus ones? Where's our snake hook cactus? I really like that one. No one uses snake hook cactus enough. Where's... There it is. Aha.
Yeah.
It also works really well for snake hook coral.
Sure.
And you know, as long as this is up here, you're fine. The second you bring your snake hook coral to here, don't do that. Keep it above that internal.
That's
No, that's bad. Bad coral. And, you know, as long as that's all pointing up, you're fine. And I would just come in and just fill this up down here so it doesn't point down. No, we don't want that to be here. There we go. I'm like, why is that not being very effective? Right, and so now you can have a nice detailed eggy alien coral and still, you know, have the part. And then at that point you may want to rethink, and this is where going back to your subdivision levels can be so important, because you may want to like slice this or throw a cutter in here and give yourself airspace and then pull that out. You know what I mean? And so by having that lowest poly model, you can go back in, Z model it, like delete all of your higher subdivision levels and say, let's say you need a hole here and you want this separate. Well, if you knock it all the way down, right? Or, and this is poly grouped, isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah, the original one is. I don't know if it is Dynamesh.
So when you Dynamesh, I would go back, re-Dynamesh it, keeping poly groups. And when you Z model, or when you Z remesh, say keep poly groups. And that'll allow you to kind of separate out an arm. And let's say you want this arm actually to come down here and wrap around this lovely alien bulby coral.
You want to hear something very
Right.
sad? The ZBrush core does not allow you to keep polygroups when you ZRemesh.
Oh. Okay, well then guess what? You don't get to do that. So
It's like, oh.
so
That-
okay, so
what a weird clue.
so then that just means, you know, being able to stretch this out, come back in, build your coral up.
Yeah.
Where to go? Oh. You're lovely. Ooh, I don't know what I just did there, but it was ugly. Why is that going down and in? What is that weird little reversal thing? Did I change the brush? What just happened here?
You're not on Sculptress mode anymore. Sculptress is off.
All right.
That'll do it. Yeah, for some reason it seems to turn off kind of randomly sometimes.
That's okay. And so, you know, you can push it around where your arm is going around the coral, right? But, you know, you don't want to have to go back in and resculpt all your suckers. So if you go all the way down to that lower level, you can move that stuff around and it will keep your sculpted detail.
Yeah, gotcha.
I really think you should run with this alien cactus coral.
No, I mean that's not far from what I was thinking though. I mean, I might make it a bit more family friendly than what you have there, but
what are you talking about?
PG-13, man. Come on. Jeez.
There we go.
But yeah, I was thinking about doing like coral and that kind of stuff.
Yeah. Gosh, you interpret everything I do so poorly. You know me too well. There, you happy? That can't be interpreted as anything bad. All right. All right. So I think you can go back in and really play with how he functions, you know, with whatever your base is.
Yeah, I have the original, which has the subdivision levels and the polygroups, which is cool because obviously I can make more other stuff with it.
Is that this guy? He has all his poly or his lower. Oh, look, he does. There you go. And so from here, you know, you just move topological. And once you've positioned your this guy, right, you can see we stretch this out some and this and that. So really, instead of remeshing, you already have your remesh right here. All you have to do is move topological and then position it to that ring base. And then you don't need everything to happen after the remesh. You use this base. Right, see here we've moved some. So just come in and move this guy to where you want it. And let's say this actually goes out quite a bit farther. And you're going to need a little bit more room in this guy. And that means you're going to need to open this guy up some. And normally this movement would distort. I mean, here, let's do it the opposite way. Come on. I really don't like that that's not working. Holding down Alt and tapping the brush, it doesn't work really well. I don't know why. So let's do it this way where we're using move. And we're coming out here and we're bringing this out here and bringing this up. And then we're stretching this and moving it out. Oh, symmetry, damn it. Damn you, symmetry. Right, and then we've pulled this one in. And you can see how quickly you start to distort your suckers. But now if we come back up here and we move these out, and we move that out, and we move this out. And let's move this one out. We come back up with our higher res. And you can see our suckers don't nearly get distorted. Now you can see that these got a little long right here, but that's an easy fix. We just go back to our lower res, because I did this without being able to see the frames. And you can see how these... Sorry, my sinuses, it's just like itchy nose. It's maddening. You can start back here where there are no suckers. And then just move these forward. And as long as you're trying to keep these relatively square, you can see where the move stretched in certain areas. So now we come back in here and we move these up. You can really set how those work now. See, they're not nearly as distorted now. So it's a really good. Now this is, so you have this, right? It just wouldn't survive through the remesh or through the Dynamesh.
Yeah, I mean, the only reason I had the Dynamesh was just to fuse the webbing in there.
Yeah, I think that I would pose it in the Dynamesh, come back here, move this model to the mold or to the shape, and then redo it. And then you won't get any of the distortion in the move.
Oh, that's a good
So
idea. Okay.
instead of Z-remeshing, all you're doing is going back to your original quad. So basically, you're using this as your Z-remesh. So that's your workaround in core.
Because I think with the because I think with the webbing, it's also not going to Z-remesh very easily.
And you have the webbing in the rough right place. It's super easy to come back in here. Now. Yeah. Oh, that's really frustrating. Not being able to switch my subtools by tapping.
Yeah. Weird. I haven't had that problem.
Yeah, that's sitting there tippy tapping. That make me nuts. So you can come back in here and just quickly reposition this to where it was after the move or before the move. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And then remesh. So I think
man.
that's your answer.
Yeah, I think that's a good one.
Yeah. Because you're roughly in the right place. You have your quad models. And you didn't change this because you moved it to the point that your model was destroyed. You did it to bind it. So, yep, I think that is the core workaround. And yes, we'll keep you guys informed and give you a link to. Can you post the link to those free videos?
For the fourth time,
Well,
or
I'm not
how many?
watching chat. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I'm on top of it, man.
Sorry,
It's our job now.
Rumble.
Yeah, working in core is interesting because limitations. For me, it's just like if you've gone back, 6 or 7 versions.
Right.
Versions
So it was like 2.5 is what you're saying.
Quite that bad. It's more like around 3, 4 than you throw in
Wow.
Sculptress. Yeah, so it's actually, you can do quite a bit with it. It's just, it has some
And
limitations.
sadly, those limitations are all the tools I use.
Well, you can't bring in custom brushes. So yeah, you're.
But
there's no SK twist, man. There's no SK clay fill.
That's a really good one. You have to admit, SK Clayfill is a magic brush.
That is the most
It
amazing
is.
brush ever. That one, I started using it and it freaked me out how awesome it
Yeah.
was. It's
It really
fix
is.
everything brush.
It's good stuff. All right.
So let me ask you this
Yes,
real
sir.
quick. You were gonna make this into a ring. Do you think, like, let's say you added the coral and everything that you did before, do you think it needs any more detail, or is
Oh
that
no,
enough?
I think this
I,
is fine. I do think you may want to
yeah.
come in and oh look, I don't have all my brushes. You may want to come in and just punch these. I guess I need to go on to that brush. Come in and just give these a little
Gotcha.
bit more crispness, because
Okay.
you will lose it, right? During the polishing and all of that, it will become softer.
Mhm.
So just make sure that things that you
Okay.
want to look like folds, right, are just a little bit more defined. And when that polishes out, that'll polish out. But you want to, now if it's a soft fold, right, where it's, this, you don't have to worry about it. If you want it to look like this, you definitely want to punch those up some.
Okay.
Because some of these I don't think are that dramatic. They're not this fold.
Yeah.
So just make sure that the things that you want to be foldy are foldier. The other thing, instead of coming in and cutting the line in, you can come out here and just give it just a touch more bow or a curve, right? So instead of the silhouette looking like, like that, it actually comes in and you get a little bit more like that, right? Where instead of cutting this deeper, you just add a little bit of height out here, and that'll give you more reflective curve coming in. And it'll, that can stay soft. Like if you don't want this to have a line, right? But you definitely want this to be a fold. You can very easily come in and just punch one of those sides a little. And so that'll still look soft, but see how much more dramatic an edge that is? And you don't have to do it on both sides. SK trim, come in, cut it, and just a flat going to a round. I didn't have smooth stronger on. Right now that's not two ways, but it's one way. And see how that's going to catch a lot more light there. So that's all. And SK trim's a good tool for this. So, here, instead of cutting a line, you can take SK trim and really flatten this edge out and bow that one. And see how you're getting that dynamic edge without it being a line. Or
I don't think I've used SK trim enough.
no, SK trim is awesome sauce. Because look, just coming in here and using SK trim to create those cut-ins. So instead of it being something that's doing this, too round, here, let's get slash. So instead of your silhouette being that, your silhouette becomes more like that. And so this is a flat surface, this being a round surface, it'll make this a much more dynamic reflection. And it gives this sort of a bright flash surface because it's now sort of become a flat plane. So it becomes this really nice kinetic, sort of bright light, foldy kinetic. Hold on, let's turn on gold and see if I can make that. I don't know if gold or Yeah, that's actually a pretty good example. It's a little blown out. Hold on, let's try that silver thing. Let's try that one. Yeah. So see how you're distinctly getting a curve here? So you're getting that curve reflection. But here, this is flat. So you're getting that flat reflection. So instead of it being two round surfaces, it's sort of a round to flat surface. And that's still round, right? Whoa, whoa, whoa. You know, this is still a curved surface. It's just you're changing how they intersect just right there at the, at the intersection, right? Boop.
Cool.
You can see I'm not cutting anything into anything. I'm just running that, and it just makes that flat, makes that round. You can tap it and make it soft, but you can see how we have a distinctive change just because of reflectivity. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's
See,
cool.
like you
Man.
could do it there. And now from back here, it reads like a nice, crisp line, but it doesn't actually read like a sharp line when you're looking at it. You're getting the reflective story of that being a sharp edge, but the physical story isn't there. So that's not going to be a super black sulfured line, right?
Yep.
From that angle, it kind of looked like the weird alien, the one that was like wormy white and Alien 11 or whatever. You know, the bizarro baby alien hybrid thing. That angle had it. It's like, rawr.
It looks like the thing that came out of the desk in
Yep.
The Fifth Element. Remember?
Oh, I'm very.
Gary Oldman's desk.
No.
Ask me to tell you
Right.
the story about that little groover one day. I have a really good story about him. Not suitable for Pixo.
All right, I'll definitely ask you about that.
Right. Note to
Right.
self. Put it on the
That's
list.
a good one. Yeah, I think that'll help. No, but I don't think you need to put any more detail in. Like, I think it'll
Yeah.
actually. And what's funny is that that's sort of the character of that Dumbo octopus, is that it's big, smooth, and weird. You know, I mean, that smoothie sort of big balloony thing is really its story. You know what I mean? So by having no texture on it and that getting high polished, you know, this surface is just going to read as like one big high polished balloon. It'd be cool. I like it.
Yeah, it's funny because I was looking at octopus rings online, and most of
Yes.
them are angry octopuses.
Why?
I'm like, why are these
I
octopuses so
know,
upset? Yeah.
Octopus's life ain't that bad. Well, okay. I mean, you
I
do
know.
wind up in a lot of Asian dishes, but
Yes, and
A
my
lot of
wife's
Greek
Greek,
dishes.
so
Sure.
every time they eat octopus, it's like watching somebody eat children. I was like, no.
it's like, what's the restaurant at the Santa Monica airport? 824 or something like that. I don't even know it's still there. Jesus. But they used to have the chocolate covered ants and crickets. You're like, you evil bastards.
So the lag has returned full force. FYI. Yeah.
I don't know what to do about it. I mean, I can't just restart every time it gets laggy, can I?
No, because we're making a new YouTube
no,
video every
exactly.
single time.
it would make me very unpopular in the old ZBrush Live offices.
But if they can't understand a word you're saying and the video is just sort of flashing images on the screen and us sounding like it,
Is it? Is it really that bad?
then it's pretty bad. Yeah.
That's really depressing.
Yeah. Ask for people to say something in chat and see if they even respond.
All right, can people say something in chat? Can you understand the words coming out of my mouth? Or are you just getting...
That's just going to make it worse.
Oh,
right,
okay.
maybe
So
audio's
audio's
working.
working. It's just the video is abysmal. Yeah, no, from
certainly
here
is on
it
my
looks
end.
like I'm completely
Yeah, I mean,
stopped.
I'm frozen on mine too. Gonna restart my.
No, I think
refresh my.
yeah, it's not you.
It's not gonna help.
Twitch.
But that's not what I get every time. It's not me. It's you.
No, it's not you.
Trust me, if there
We
was a
would.
way for us to blame you for this, we would have already.
I know. I know.
The other thing I would strongly think about is giving it an eye dome. I understand why you did what you did, because often it's a big eye and it has the little pupil. Right. It's really just a big thing. But if you only have the little eye like this, yeah, you'll get a dark thing and a thing. But the one thing I think about octopi and sea fish, right, is that, they distinctly have a bubbly eye domey thing. And by getting an eye dome in here, and then coming back in and figuring out what your pupil is, you're going to wind up with something that has nice reflectivity on the eyeball. And that's a good cell. Like, just reflectively, it's a nice cell. Where here, you see what I mean? It just seems very primitive, right?
Yeah, I mean, I can hear you, but I
Okay.
can't actually see what you're doing. The lag's pretty bad. Okay, I'm starting to see the little
Holy
dimple on there.
Hannah.
Yeah, we get one frame every 4 minutes, or I'm sorry, maybe 30 seconds or more.
So do you think I should try to reboot?
At this point,
Well, I'm just...
maybe.
Or just close anything you have that's
There's nothing-
GPU
no, there's
intensive
it's not
and see if
me.
it fixes.
I have nothing else on. I mean, I have OBS on. And I have this video
You have
up. But
OBS
those are
on.
the only 3 things I have on.
I wonder if you changed your if you change source to like 720 instead of 1080, that would use less GPU because you're running on
but
a
we didn't have
980
this
and that
problem
might
last
be...
week. It's not
Right.
it's not the processor. I mean, we don't how does it change GPU from one weekend to another?
Computers is
Yeah, but
wild,
this is a
yo.
twitchy thing, I
That's
really
how-
feel.
then the only option is to
I mean, here,
restart the
I mean,
stream.
we can try that. I don't think anybody wants output. Because it's not showing that I'm dropping frames here. I'm at 60 frames a second, and it doesn't say that I'm, like, CPU is less than 5%. It says we're putting out 6188 kilobytes a second. Drop frame 0. Oh, wait. Hold on. Here we go. Encoding overloaded. Considering turning down video settings or using a faster encoding. What was the encoding that I was supposed to... Because my video bitrate is 6,000. Enable advanced encoder settings. What do you think?
What encoder do you have
It
selected now?
just says hardware NVENC.
Okay. Do you have another option there? It looks like it's just grayed out.
Well, encoder preset quality. Should it be performance?
Sure. I don't know.
One here.
Well, that's never stopped me from getting a question wrong before. I know you want NVENC, and 6,000 kilobytes is 1080 60 frames per second.
Well, yeah,
But,
no, it
I mean,
says
something's going
encoding
on.
overloaded right
Go
here.
to your video. Yeah, I would say go to your video and see if your output is 1080.
No, it's 1920.
Maybe that is
Oh,
1920 by 1080.
but I can't change that.
maybe.
Yeah.
Oh, you can't. Okay. Where's...
No, he'd have to change his screen
Would be an
resolution.
abysmal idea.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
Don't do. Yeah, don't do.
No, don't. Yeah. No, there was something on there I ran into that I could change the output to 1080. But maybe that's for recording purposes.
I don't know why it's not. Does anyone out there have any damn ideas? Because why would it be fine and then... I don't get it. Because last week was fine. We didn't run into this last week, did we?
No, last week was great.
Yeah, it was smooth. And we had 20 more people in at that time. We had
Yeah.
70 something in there, didn't we?
Oh my god. I'm the most exciting streamer in the world. I mean, because it says I'm not dropping frames. It says that we're not blasting, our CPU. Our little light's green. It's not red. But over here it says encoding overloaded. Consider turning down video settings or using a faster encoder. Someone want to Google search what that means?
X264 is the other option, but it doesn't seem to want to let you pick.
Why won't it let me? Yeah, see, it's not giving me any.
Somebody suggested try dropping the frame rate down to or the bit rate to
I don't
40K.
even know where to do that. What is that?
You go back into the options tab where we had it 60K at 180 or 168
Okay, here's
or something
60K.
like that.
So
Yeah.
make that what?
Okay.
4,000.
Yeah, 4,000. Someone said you can reduce the bit rate a little. The 920 by 1080 is 4 8,000 to well,
That's
to
it's the
8,000.
thing he's
Would that
doing now.
help at all?
Oh, okay.
Do I need to actually reboot this friggin' thing?
I'm not sure if those changes go active on the fly or if you need to stop and start.
Well, I don't think stopping and starting is going to hurt us because it fixed the problem. All right, so I'm going.
Yeah, I fixed it last time.
All right, yeah.
Yeah.
We might
Right
as well
now,
try